All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a really cool biological riddle. It's about a group of plants that were some of the very first pioneers on land. But they have this one little problem. They just can't seem to let go of the water. We're talking about bryophytes.
So let's just jump right in with the big question. When I say amphibian, what pops into your head? Probably a frog, right? Something that lives its life between the water and the land. But what if I told you there's a whole group of plants that basically does the exact same thing?
And here they are, the answer to our riddle, bryophytes. Now, this group includes plants you've definitely seen before, like mosses, and maybe some you haven't, like liverworts and hornworts. You know those small, green, kind of velvety carpets you always see in damp, shady places? That's them. But the real question is, why do they get this amphibian nickname? Well, that's the mystery we're going to unravel today. Okay, so to figure this whole thing out, we need to play detective a bit. We're looking for clues. And the very first set of clues is hidden in how these plants are built, their fundamental design. You can think of it like the no pipes rule book that they absolutely have to live by. And this is a really big one. Think about taller plants, right? They've got this incredible internal plumbing system, xylem and phloem, that acts like pipes to move water and nutrients all the way up. Well, bryophytes, they have no pipes at all. None. Instead, they have to soak up water and food really slowly, almost like a sponge, cell by cell. And that right there is a huge reason why they have to stay so small and hug the ground. And that simple design just keeps going. Instead of real roots, they have these little anchor-like threads called rhizoids, which basically just hold them in place. They don't have tough stems or fancy leaves either. But don't let that fool you. They are still total experts at making their own food. They're green, so yep, they use photosynthesis to create energy, just like any other plant.
Okay, so let's review. Clue number 1, they're super simple. Small, no plumbing. Got it. But clue number 2, honestly, this is where it gets really fascinating. It's all about their life story, which plays out like a drama in 2 totally different acts.
The official term for this is alternation of generations. I know, it sounds a little technical, right? But it's actually not that complicated. Just imagine a single creature that has 2 completely different bodies it switches between during its lifetime. It's wild. One body is responsible for one thing, and the other body is responsible for something completely different.
So let's look at those 2 forms. The green, leafy, carpet-like part you actually see and think of as moss, that's the gametophyte. It's the star of the show, the main character. It's the dominant, long-lived part. But then, growing right out of it, you get this other thing, the sporophyte. This second body is totally dependent on the main plant for food, and its one and only job in life is to produce spores. It's incredible. 2 bodies, 1 single life. All right, so we've got our clues lined up. We know they have a simple body plan, and we know they live this crazy 2-part life. Now, it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, the one that connects everything and finally solves our amphibian mystery. So the big question is, how do they actually do it? How do they get from that gametophyte stage, the one that makes the sex cells, to creating that other body, the sporophyte? The whole secret is in how fertilization happens. Deep inside that main green plant, the gametophyte, you've got the reproductive organs. There's the male part, the antheridia, which makes sperm, and then you've got the female part, the archegonia, which holds the egg. So the stage is set for reproduction. And here it is. This is the big reveal, the aha moment. The sperm produced by these plants doesn't get carried by the wind or hitch a ride on an insect. Nope, it has to physically swim through water to get to the egg. And for that to happen, of course, it needs water. It could be a raindrop, a little bit of dew, just a thin film of water is all it takes. And just like that, mystery solved. This is exactly why bryophytes are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. They live on land, right? They've totally conquered it. But just like a frog has to go back to the pond to lay its eggs, these plants are fundamentally tied to water for sexual reproduction. They can't complete their life cycle without it. So, now that we've cracked the code on their secret double life, let's actually meet the lineup. Let's get to know them a bit better and find out why these tiny, humble-looking plants are actually, seriously, ecological superstars. Basically, the bryophyte family is split into 3 main groups. First, you've got the liverworts, which often look like flat green ribbons. Then you have the mosses. These are the ones everyone knows with that classic upright, leafy look. And finally, there are the hornworts, which get their cool name from their sporophyte, which looks like a little horn growing right out of the main plant. Don't let their small size fool you, because their impact on the environment is absolutely massive. A huge part of what they do, about 30% of their importance, is soil formation. They are literally land creators. They also act like these incredible natural sponges, preventing erosion and holding on to moisture. And on top of that, some of them form peat, which is a super important resource for both fuel and agriculture. They are absolute workhorses.
So yeah, that's why we call them ecosystem engineers. It's the perfect term. They don't just exist in an environment, they actively build it. They create brand new soil where there was just bare rock, and in doing so, they pave the way for bigger, more complex plants to move in.
So the next time you're out and you see a little patch of moss growing on a rock or in a crack in the pavement, maybe stop and take a closer look. Because you're not just looking at some random little plant. You're looking at a living fossil, a survivor, a pioneer that tells the incredible story of the very moment life first decided to leave the water and conquer the land. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing stories are hiding all around us, just waiting to be seen?